Hey guys, MostlyNerdy here. Gonna do some Dark Souls 3 Road of Sacrifice. Uh, this is right after the last bonfire. You're just gonna come around the corner here. You're gonna see your first enemy. These enemies I recommend just charging because they try to open up their wings, gives you an opportunity to attack. And anytime that Dark Souls will give you an opportunity, you should take it. So just charge at them, and obviously that works better whenever there's only one of them. But come around here, and there's another enemy you can take out, and there's an item back there. Looks like a stone. So if you come out here and take a left, there's nothing up here, but it'll give you an idea of the lay of the land around here. There's a spot to the left that we're going to check out. But first, let's go next to the cart and we'll pick up the item, and it is a soul. So those are always good, nice to have. So if we come to this area, there's an enemy, and of course there's an enemy because it's Dark Souls. So take him out and see what's going on over here. And it says death, so don't go that way. If you fall to your death, like I have many times, you know how frustrating that can be, to be killed by nobody. But you just come out and take these two guys out, and then there is a third enemy in the corner there. That one will attack you from a distance with a staff and poison you. So take him out so you don't have to worry about that. We'll go back and you can see where we're headed here. But there's an enemy you can see and an item in the distance. Says that you can get him from a distance, but we don't have to do that because we're actually headed that way anyway. So I'll just double back, and you can see there's a message on the ground there and then an item on the left down there. So we can drop down and you don't have to worry about taking damage or anything because you're not going to. But let's see what the message says. It says there's an enemy up here, and we can assume that they're somewhat powerful or hard to fight because there's a decent amount of blood stains. So pick up the axe there, and there is the enemy. It doesn't look like they have strong armor or anything. It seems like the most annoying part about this fight is going to be that they roll a decent amount, but it doesn't look like they have a whole lot of health or anything like that, so we can take them out and pick up what they drop, which is the butcher knife, which is the weapon that they had. Pretty sweet looking weapon. So you can equip that if you want, or sell it, whatever you want to do. But it looks like there's a couple more items. We just picked up an armor set and twin daggers. So looks like we got everything in this area, so we can head back to the main path. And yeah, this main path here, and we'll head through this opening, and you can see that there is a path up above, and there's actually two enemies right here that you can kill, but one of them is sleeping. So you can see you can't like walk over him or anything. That's kind of an indicator that you can fight him. So you can kill him, but he doesn't attack you anyway, so it's up to you. But there is the enemy and an item behind the enemy, so take out that one and we can grab whatever item there is. That's just checking out, making sure that he's not going to attack me. So the item is a shard, always good. And you can see up here we are back where the overturned cart was, where we fought the first enemy with the staff. So we can run through here, and you can see that there is a bridge with some enemies on it, and you see one up in the corner. The one up in the corner is going to attack you from a distance with the staff. There's a good amount of enemies here, and you can get overwhelmed pretty easily, and it's easy to get stuck in the poison, but since it doesn't hit you directly, it's somewhat easier to avoid than arrows and throwing knives and stuff like that, even if you're fighting a bunch of other ones. But we can run up here and take this guy out. It's not particularly hard. These enemies are all pretty easy. So we take him out and we'll run up and see what the item was that was up by him, and it was an ember. And I actually missed this to my first run through, but by the bridge there's a place you can drop down, and in this area is a couple of items that you can grab and a couple of dogs. So you can take the dogs out pretty easily, especially if you're better at fighting them than I am. I have difficulty with the dogs for some reason, I'm not sure what it is, but take them out and grab the items, which is the ring, and then there's the other one right here. It's just 2 items, and then you can run up this pathway, and then there's a enemy on the left who has red eyes, but not too difficult, especially if you use a strategy of charging while he's trying to get his wings out. And if you drop down here, you're just on the other side of the bridge again, where we just fought. So we can get back on track, and here is a bonfire with a couple of NPCs next to it. So you can light the bonfire and rest, whatever you want to do. If you don't need to rest, then don't. It's up to you. But we can talk to this NPC. Talks about how you guys are on the same path, how you're probably going to need to help each other at some point. I feel like it's a little bit of foreshadowing. Haven't made it that far yet, because I'm playing this and my first playthrough and putting these videos up. So, but talk to her, and then there is another NPC next to her that we can talk to, and you actually want to talk to this guy, because despite the fact that he says nothing, he does give you a covenant to join. So immediately after the bonfire, you can drop down here and drop down again, and then there is a corpse with some souls on it, so you can pick those up. And this video is going to have a lot of transitions in it, because there's a lot of different ways that you can approach this. So I am going to transition back and forth between what I think is best, so we can come up and take these guys out. If you don't take them out quick enough, they will get you with poison. Over there, there's going to be some items over there and some enemies, but we'll skip that for now. So if you come up here, there is this enemy. So this enemy is pretty aggressive. It'll take you out pretty quickly. It has powerful attacks and is pretty quick. So anytime you can get him before he gets up, go for it. I'm actually going to go around this tree, because there's another one right here. I know all this because I died plenty of times trying to do this. So you can take this guy out and watch out for the poison, because that will happen. So if you don't get out of there fast enough, you'll end up poisoned, but it doesn't seem to do a whole bunch of damage to your health. But you can see the souls up there I died at, because there is a Black Knight or something like that. The Dark Knight, it's Batman. So Batman's right there. But you can pick that stuff up. Since I started as a mercenary, that's my starting equipment. But so if you can get a backstab in on this guy, I recommend it, because he is hard to beat. His attacks are pretty telegraphed and easily dodged. The problem is if he does hit you, it takes a lot of health away. So you can take this guy out, try to get some backstabs in. You can see how much health one hit took. So go for backstabs and make sure you're dodging. Make sure you leave yourself a decent amount of stamina to avoid his attacks. And then after you get him down, you can run over here and you will grab the weapons that I've been using this entire time, and head back this way, and you see another item. I don't know what these say. It looks like there's an illusion wall there, maybe. Anyway, grab this item, and it is coal. What you're going to do with that coal is you are going to take it to the blacksmith at Firelink Shrine, and he will be able to use that to infuse your weapons with new infusion sets, I guess. Anyway, try to take out this wall, because that's what I thought that was telling me, but I gave up. I don't know. Maybe there's one I'm missing, but we can head back the direction that we came. So this is one of those transitions I was telling you about. We're still in the same area, but we're going to go back towards where we were at the bonfire. We're going to try to avoid the swamp because there are giant crabs and their fights are no joke. They have decent attacks and they also have high resistance to damage, physical damage anyway. So if you go back towards where the bonfire was, you can see there's these enemies with the trees. They're easy to avoid, but they are pretty powerful attacks, and it's easy to get overwhelmed if you have a whole bunch of them attacking you at once. So we can avoid them or fight them, or you can have 3 of them just hit you in the back like that. That's how you play Dark Souls, guys. So there should be an item on the left here, and we're gonna head past these enemies. You can take them out, easily avoided, but you can take them out if you want. It's not like they give you a whole bunch of souls. There are some items around here, so it is in this general area. You should be able to see them. They're pretty wide out in the open there. It was in that giant group of enemies there. If you go in to get the items, it is easy to get poisoned, but like I said, poison is not a huge issue. So we're just going to stay along this left side here. I think there's some more items around here, but what we want to do is find the bonfire that is right around this area. There are a couple of enemies here, but what we really care about is going right here, and you can see the bonfire already, but you can also hear a dog, so the dog's going to chase me, of course. So it's easy for that dog to attack you whenever you come to this bonfire. It happens quite often, actually. So go ahead and rest at the bonfire, and I'll go ahead and show you what a battle against one of the crabs looks like, because there's one right there. We can see if we can lure him over, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Nope. He doesn't care. So I guess we'll have to fight him the real way. So drop down here. Don't worry about trying to get a backstab, because it ain't happening. So this drop attack, you can see, does a decent amount of damage, and this is actually probably a good opportunity to get attacks in if you have stamina, unlike me. Whenever he sprays, he's pretty open to damage, or at least getting attacked. So you can see that my weapon is not exactly tearing him to shreds or anything like that. So I'm not sure if different weapon types have better success against him or not, but I didn't test it. So depending on your build, this might be a little bit easier, might be a little bit harder, whatever. But you can see he's just giving me those left hooks like crazy right there. So you kind of want to keep your distance and try to get him to use his distance attack. Just be aware that if you rested or anything like that, if you keep jumping around like an idiot, you might jump right into another batch of enemies. So, like, you don't want to fight this guy and 3 tree guys and one of the guys with the stuff on his back that has the red eyes or whatever. That's no fun. This fight alone is no fun. So, you kind of just circle around, wait for your openings, try to time your dodges whenever he does that attack. Apparently I couldn't get it right. And he's got that attack, which the grab attack is pretty powerful and easy to die. You can see I've already gone through 6 flasks, so it's pretty low on health, but 6 flasks still. And you can see I got like half of my health left. I'm just hoping that I can get him dead at some point, because he does not seem to be going down, and finally we got him. So I'm thinking that he dropped something really good. He dropped a shard. So that is one of the crabs that's in the area, and I'm sure that there's better strategies, but that fight is I don't want to say it's no fun, because it is fun. It's kind of fun doing that. But it's fun because I won. I didn't rage quit. So, gotta go back to the bonfire because I need flask, obviously. Look at my health. That's all from him, basically. And it won't let me rest because I bumped into a couple enemies who are chasing me down now. And I'm straight up almost dead, guys. And I was like, nope, not happening today. So, rest at the bonfire again. And if you thought that was fun, well, guess what, guys? You can do it again if you want. Guess who's not going to do it again right now? Me, this guy. So, from the bonfire, you can run back towards these 2 tree enemies and take them out, or run past them, whatever you want to do. I take them out because I can. And you walk to the back side of this building, and there's a couple enemies here. Take them out. Nothing too major going on here. There's just a couple items back here, so you can drop down, and then there should be an item behind you, I think. Or I made that up, I don't remember. It's been so long, I've died so many times. But I know there's an item on that corpse there, and then there's 2 of these enemies. But the good thing is that you can fight them one at a time, so you don't have to worry about fighting 2 of them at the same time. But you can fight them, get your souls, and be on your way. They're not that bad if you can get them before you run out of stamina, I guess. So depending on your strength and all that good stuff, you'll be okay. Break boxes that have nothing in them, and then you can run back. We are back where the bonfire is, so from the bonfire you can run back towards the building past the enemies, and there's an opening here, and from the opening you're going to want to attack this enemy with a lantern so he doesn't attract all the other enemies. Unless you're Jason Statham of Dark Souls 3 and you want to fight 5 guys at once, go for it, Jason Statham. So you can run up the stairs, you can kill these enemies that aren't attacking you for souls, or just run up the stairs, watch the enemy on your right. He is a shielded guy, so he means business. Just hit him like that, and then he's like, whoops, and then you take him out. Before we go forward, we're going to go through this opening to this pathway, We're going to come up these stairs, and then there's an opening right here. There's nothing up here except for this NPC. So you're going to talk to this NPC who is a sorcerer. So I think at this point he will either let you join or learn from him, but I think you have to have a certain intelligence level. Since I started as a mercenary, my default was 10. I haven't upped my intelligence since I started, so 10 is good enough. If you're lower than that, I don't know. So I haven't played with any other classes or anything like that, so he'll eventually disappear, and then you're all alone again in Dark Souls 3 to contemplate your many deaths. So I would recommend not doing what I do here and just going back to the stairs and having a little bit of strategy instead of Leroy Jenkinsing, that's a word, and trying to take on all these guys with no strategy whatsoever, because you will annoy your team, much like Leroy Jenkins, and your team is yourself. So, you can see that I kind of got my booty kicked there for a little bit, but that was because I had no idea where all the guys were. So you come here, and then there's a couple of guys with staffs who will hit you from a distance, as usual. And then coming up ahead is the boss, or a boss anyway. And the transition and the fog means that I died, of course. So this is the Crystal Sage. Get my souls, because I had an okay amount, I guess. So this fight really has two phases, I guess. You can just get up close and attack. The boss itself is not like super powerful, it doesn't have any super great attacks. It does have melee attacks whenever you're close, although most of the damage looks like it's going to be from a distance. This is the hard part because there are like clones of the boss that will shoot you in the back the entire time you're trying to fight, because it's like the little brother that doesn't really know how to fight or anything, because if you hit it once it is gone. So you can see I keep getting hit in the back, but you hit the clone once and it's out of the picture. I'm not sure how many there actually are that pop up in each phase, but strategy might be to take them out before you go after the actual Crystal Sage. So I think I only died once doing this, but go ahead and take them out, and then you will have the bonfire to light. And there's a little bit more to this area after the boss fight that I didn't get to. There's a couple of directions you can go, so we'll actually end up going back to the bonfire that we had as our usual hangout here in a second. And here we are back at the bonfire. This is what I called our usual hangout. I don't know how much you hung out there, but it was like every time I died, that's where I ended up. So that was a lot. And so what we're going to do is we're going to run this direction, and you can see that one of the giant crabs is already coming after me. So we want to get out of the swamp and head towards these stairs and be ready for a decent fight that's about to happen. So these are like the invaders, but the fight is not anything to scoff at, because there's two of them, and they are pretty powerful in the sense that their attacks are pretty damaging, and one of them likes to heal up on me, or at least did like to heal up on me, so I assume that he's going to do the same thing to you because he's a jerk face. So, I'm going to go ahead and take them out, and then we'll these are not the actual invaders, but the fight is very similar if you ever do the PvP. And if you ever try to climb up on that ledge like I did, you're gonna look embarrassed on YouTube like me. So anyway, you can see this guy has a giant weapon, and he has the same strategy as me, which is don't fight this guy. But here he comes. So he buffed himself. Their attacks are kind of slow, so you should be able to either parry. I assume you can parry. I never try to parry. My shield doesn't allow for it right now. But you can see that I took him out, or got his health pretty low, and then his buddy came up and he was like, hey, no, not on my watch, whatever. And you'll see that I get to fight this guy solo for a little bit. I even got a backstab in on him, and he still has over half of his health. But you see that his health went up. He's the jerk face that keeps healing himself. So, you can see how you can easily get overwhelmed, and it's probably pretty easy to die. So there he is trying to heal himself again. So I go in for a backstab thinking that'll kill him, but it doesn't. So, and then he rolls away. But look how low his health is. And he tries to heal himself, but I also need to heal myself. So he got away with it. This is a good example of how they will sandwich you. But really just try to focus in on one of them. If you can keep them separated, that's probably a good idea. If you can parry, that's probably a better idea. I just am not very good at it, and my shield doesn't even allow for it. So I got one of them down. I'm gonna pick his weapon up, which is a great club, and then we can take this guy out, which will be a lot easier without somebody hitting us in the back the entire time. It's not rocket science. It's Dark Souls 3, which is probably just as hard. But you can see it's a little easier to evade and all that good stuff. I can't even hit him whenever he's stuck to a tree because Dark Souls 3, rocket science, guys. Come on. But yeah, you can take this guy out, and then he will also drop a weapon, and it is Exile Greatsword. So, pick that up. Those are probably good weapons, not for my build, but they're probably good for you or somebody. So we're almost at the end. I just wanted to show you that fighting the crabs is actually worth it. So, first I'm going to run and grab the souls that I lost whenever I died fighting this crab the first time, and the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time. How many ever times? I don't know if I can count that high. Anyway, so there's this crab here. This is a different crab from the one that stands next to the bonfire we were at earlier. This one's closer to the bonfire at the bottom of the ladder. So the first one we fought dropped a shard. I don't know if they dropped shards the first crab you beat no matter what, or if you just have to beat this crab for the item. But basically this fight is for an item, so it's optional. You don't have to fight, you can just go on to the next section whichever way you go, and be done with this area, because it is kind of a maze and kind of amazingly difficult. So we can fight this guy. It seems like I'm doing less damage. I think I'm trying to fight more strategically, which is just making me look like a wimp. So you can see I'm hardly even getting in attacks because I am dodging so much that I'm losing all my stamina. And you can see that he killed some of his little minions. So you can do that. You get souls. whatever. It's not like they're a lot. So, same strategy as before. I am struggling to find things to talk about because it's taking me so long to kill this thing that I kind of wish that I would have fast forwarded this, because I don't want to watch me fight it, so you don't want to watch me fight it. I know what YouTube wants. Anyway, I'm doing better at defense anyway, in terms of how many flasks I have. I have 4 instead of having basically none already. And you can see that I'm getting a little better at the timing, so you can see the timing. This is something that you should take note of. Eventually, or not eventually, but sometimes, it'll drop down and it'll leave you open for a power attack like that, and then they dropped the Great Swamp Ring. So, was it worth it? Definitely, probably, almost. So, we can finish up this area, and we will do so right now. So you come up the stairs where you saw the 2 enemies with the Great Sword and Great Club, and there's a homeward bone in the back, and there's not really anything back there, or if there is, I missed it, who knows, probably. But you come down here, hold down your button to slide, look really cool, brag about it on YouTube, and there is a bonfire right there. That is it for this area. So with that, I will let you go cry about Dark Souls, and as always, stay nerdy.